I was blessed enough to be top producer for 2023 and 2024. And there was no shot that I could have been top producer if it wasn't for seller financing.
Welcome to the Earn the Signature podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Gomez, and another rock star is joining us today, Victor Avila.
Victor, thank you for having me, Jeremy.
And we're going to get right to it because this is a strategy that I think nobody talks about in real estate. Mm-hmm. And again, this is how a lot of the wealthiest of the investors have come to own real estate, and it's to the form of seller financing. So tell us a little about, because I know you're very delved into the subject about seller financing.
Right. So I consider my specialty through seller financing. I think that's how I even got into the multifamily space a lot. Okay. So what seller financing does for realtors, it triples your income, one. Mm-hmm. And for your client, it triples your doors, right? So seller financing, what it typically is, you're getting financing instead of from a bank, you're getting it from the seller himself, okay? And why that's so creative is because when you get the financing from the seller, you can actually choose your interest rate, choose your down payment, choose your loan term, choose when you want to balloon the payment, etc. So, for example, the regular realtor, right, and this is kind of like a session, the regular realtor would get a client and they say, hey, listen, I got $300,000. I want to buy something. And the regular realtor, what they would do is that they would go ahead and tell them, okay, let's get a duplex, 2 doors, right? Now, what I usually do is I tell them we could go that route, or what we could do is I could find you a deal. I could structure it for you where instead of getting 2 doors, we could get 8 doors with that and use that $300,000 as a down payment. Yep. Right. So for example, I can give a story. One of my biggest deals, one of my biggest deals to this day was, I think it was 25 doors in Avondale, and it was about 2.7 million. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I remember the seller of the property, I was representing the buyer, and the seller of the property was an old man. He was just trying to retire. And my client, he had about $850,000 to play with. So I went up to the old man and I told him, I was like, hey, listen, I have a client that's interested in your property. We have $850,000 as a down payment. Would you like to do a seller financing deal? Yeah. He said, what is that? I explained to him how it is. I negotiated the interest rate. I negotiated the down payment, the loan term, and the balloon. And we came to a deal. Now, back then, which was 2023, a commercial interest rate was about, I think it was 8 or 9%.
Probably, yeah.
Around there. It was a super high interest rate. We got that property for only a 5% rate.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the beauty of seller financing, is that as a realtor, you can use that to, one, get into the spaces where you see all these commercial brokers making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 commissions, right? And 2, you're doing right by your seller, by your buyer as well, because if you can get your buyer, instead of thinking small to thinking big, they can go from either having 2 doors to the difference to having 10 doors, 15 doors, 20 doors, 30 doors, so it's basically, that's how it works.
So you're technically underwriting or stating your own terms. Yeah. Or having your agent do it for you, rather, because I always say go in with an agent in every transaction that you go to. But I mean, if the rate was 8 to 9 and you're getting it at 5, and the seller agrees, that's the end of it. You don't have to go through underwriting process. Yeah. You don't have to submit documentation. Yeah. Which, by the way, that's one thing that also helps you out, because you don't have to really run credit. You don't have to go through hoops and submit bank statements and stuff like that. Most of the time, what's going to dictate that seller financing is going to be the cash on hand that you have. So you guy had 800,000. Some people have 300,000. And that's technically your qualification. It's the money in your hand,
basically.
Right? So maybe just approve of funds and you're good to go.
Yeah. So the beauty of these deals also is that I would choose a seller financing deal any day besides a regular financing. Yeah. It's because these deals, once you agree on a monthly payment, a rate, a balloon, a loan, you can close these deals in 15 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can close when a duplex, say, like, let's say you have a duplex and you want to finance it through a bank, that's usually going to take between 30 to 45 days. you can close a $3 million deal in 15 days.
Yeah.
So
speed is the name of the game in this industry.
Exactly. So
very, very, very important.
I think that's how there was no shot. I was blessed enough to be top producer for 2023 and 2024, and there was no shot that I could have been top producer if it wasn't for seller financing.
Awesome. So this is again, not a lot of people talk about it because just lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
If you are in the space of trying to find an off-market property, a multifamily, this also works for some of these properties that have a lot of equity and the seller's been trying to sell it for a very long time. And usually stuff like, I've seen land deals happen this way. I've seen, houses that just need a lot of work and it's over an acre and the person is just, needs to get rid of it, needs to cash out, it's paid off. And you can go in and offer seller financing, and it could probably get approved just because they're trying to do it. And usually these are lasting about 5 years or so. The balloon.
Usually it all depends, right? Like you can choose your terms. So for example, what you could do is you could say finance it for 5 years at a 30-year amortization, so that way it's not the 5 years are not like the payment, the principal and interest is not
5 years.
Of 5 years. It's from 30 years, and then after the 5 years. We can do a balloon at the end. So when you do a balloon at the end, either you pay all the money up front or you refinance it. You pay him your money and then you have another loan afterwards.
And who does this type of documentation? Like because you're gonna need a mortgage and a note probably. So who in your case did that paperwork?
Right. So the agent is the one that structures the deal in the contract. Right. So they talk about monthly payment, term, rate, etc. And then after that, in the title company, the title company is the one that usually does that. Title company usually has an attorney in hand.
Yeah.
Now, in some bigger deals, I mean, like my last deal was one in downtown Orlando. They had their own attorney that they wanted to draft it. So it saved my seller some fees.
Yeah.
Right. And then from there, their attorney drafts the note letter, and then they just, other attorney looks at it, make sure it's good, and then you close.
That's it. So having a team and support. This type of transaction is good. We have an amazing title company we work with who is tied to an attorney that can produce these documents, which is a note and a mortgage. And like Victor said, you're going to usually structure it with a 30-year amortization. So the payment is slow, but it's due usually about 5-year balloon, right? About 5 year.
Yeah. I mean, it could be 5 years. It could be 10 years. So, and this not only works for commercial too. There's not only works for multifamily. I had a client in the team that did a seller financing deal. And it was a mobile home.
Nice.
Yeah, and so mobile home. This also works well for people that might not be able to traditionally get approved for a house, but they have cash in hand, and they might have bad credit, but they have cash in hand.
Yeah.
You can offer a seller financing deal. Hey, look, I have this amount of cash. I can do these payments, etc., over 30 years, and they did it. So.
Yeah. What is your standard down payment usually that you do into these?
It's usually between 25%, 25%, right? But like I said, I mean, some guys, I've seen crazy things. I've seen 0 interest rates on the financing. I've seen 5%.
Same as cash.
Yeah, I've seen 5% down payments. I've seen crazy things. But typically, they're probably going to ask you for about 20 to 30%. Of a down payment.
And that's super fair because again, the people who are needing these type of financing options are maybe have issues with credit, have issues with maybe some financial situations, and so they have cash on hand because they have the that. So don't cancel yourself out if you have some money on hand. You don't have the perfect credit, you don't have the perfect finances. But because of situations that happen, because people, there's divorces that can happen, death in the family, whatever, inheritance, and somebody's credit gets affected, sometimes finances get affected, but you have been saving up for certain situations, and so this is a good situation to do is to seller financing and just offer it. But you need to have the agent to guide you. It just can't be an agent that has no
experience
knowledge,
with it,
like us.
Yeah.
Like us, hit us up on the DM. But, we're very experienced in shaping and structuring these deals because you have to get creative out there in certain situations, especially if there are properties that sometimes are not very financeable. Because, it's tough to get like a $2.3 million multifamily, property. Yeah. If you go through a traditional bank, that's going to take you 3 months.
They'll
to
ask
close.
you for like an arm and a leg.
Yeah, 3 months to close. Like 3 months to close, and ask you like for every single piece of paperwork you can imagine. And sometimes some of these deals need speed, right? And so, and especially if it's off market, if it's something that doesn't have a lot of involvement from it's just mainly a seller, because some of these you go straight to the seller, right?
Yeah, you go straight to the seller, or you pitch it to the realtor. I've had realtors where they don't know what it is.
And they're like,
is our commission included? Yes, everything is included.
But, yeah, because that's nothing to do with the purchase price.
Yeah,
so
to do sometimes
with the
realtors, they don't know about seller financing. They shy away from that because they think that we're not going to get all the money in order for them to pay it. But that's not the case. You're still going to get paid. It's going to be part of the down payment, and the closing, it comes out of the down payment.
No, I love it. I love it.
And the last thing that I'm going to add is the good thing about people that are willing to do the seller financing. One, it saves you money on taxes because it's not like a whole chunk of money coming in. It's like little by little, sporadically, right? And two, if for people that are money spenders, right, what you can do is, instead of getting like 2 million or 3 million in one go, what you can do is you do seller financing. Now you're getting residual payments of monthly income coming in.
Yeah.
So
the leverage of using any type of financing, let's just talk about and we'll end with this, is that debt service. The debt service is seller financing or is a regular mortgage. But just like you said, if somebody has $300,000-$400,000 to spend on an investment property, don't use it all and buy one property cash, because you're thinking about like that. If you do the numbers on an actual what we call investment analysis worksheet, you're gonna see that you're gonna make more money on passive income if you finance versus putting it all cash.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are people that are not fan of that. There are people who say, "Oh, you'll use your cash, no debt, no debt, no debt." But there is good debt, okay? And that's where you use the leverage. Like you said, instead of buying one property, you'll buy two or you buy three.
Yeah.
And now you have three properties that are increasing in equity at the same time. And now you have options. 5 years go by because of the debt service that you use. You made more money on passive income because you didn't use all your cash in one property. You spread it out into three.
Yeah.
And now 3 years from now, instead of one appreciating $200,000, you might have three that appreciate for $300,000. Now you have $600,000 to work with versus just $200,000 5 years from now. And it's the same money.
Exactly. Or 2 doors instead of 10 doors.
Yeah, there you go. Passive income. You heard it here first. If they're interested in your podcast, I think this was a great topic. If you like something about it, put the comments in there. If you have any questions, put some comments in there. Send us a DM, whatever it might be. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for the next episode. And we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.